Recently, I have been more confused than I have ever been concerning the church. So many things are going on in the church that are so difficult for us to comprehend. And that is because individuals are getting it wrong, and then combining the wrong understandings of different individuals, you get a combination of wrong settings. So many things are going on in the church. We don't know whether the church is a content creation venue or a political arena. So many things are going on. And then there is this heavy lifting of the world into the church, largely by the choir and by ministers. We need to understand what we are called out for, who we are meant to look like. But that is not the topic for today. That is story for another day. Today, we just need to understand the place of the authority of the church when it comes to the powers of the land. Yes, we understand that a lot of our leaders that we even look up to are compromised because they received the gifts they should not receive. Be that as it may, a lot of believers, like Nigeria had her independence recently, and then people will gather to pray for the country, and then they begin to pray against the leaders. They begin to castigate. They begin to speak strongly against the political authorities in power today. It has been like that for years. For years, it has been like that. But sometimes we ask ourselves, is it just the government that is bad? Or everybody? Everybody. What is the part that you play in it? Nigerians would travel to the US or some other countries like that, but they would never throw anything outside the window of their car. But in Nigeria, you are eating your groundnut and you are throwing the shell outside the window. And then you say the government is bad. Before we begin to castigate, let us understand the place, the authority that God has given us as believers. We need to know that to a very large extent, the government we have in power is the reflection of the place the church is with God. God will never set a power over you that will be like an iron fist if you are standing right before God. Check it around. In Nigeria, it seems to move from bad to worse. When one power comes in and we begin to complain about that power, oh, this person is this power is this, the one that comes after that turns out to be worse than the one you've been complaining about. And that one looks like a better evil. And it's been on like that in Nigeria. Now let us come home. Why will one power come and it's so difficult, and the one that will come after it will become like an iron fist that is blowing people about in different paths and directions? Why? The word of God tells us that if my people, he's not talking about the entire people of Nigeria, says if my people who are called by my name, I think that is the Christians, will humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways. If we would just humble ourselves, we are so proud of our humility. If we will humble ourselves, turn from our wicked ways, because God needs to look out for us, He will make sure that the power that is evil will not rule over us. So we see somebody that was good, that wants to come into power, but the one that is evil, that we say is not good, is the one that gets into power. It is you that have chosen in the Spirit. You, the Christian, you, the believers, who refuse to stand right before the Lord. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, that is the expectation of God. That is what will change the situation of the country. That is what will bring us the government that we want. Even if the person that comes into power intends good, he will turn evil because it is the energy we are sending out to him. He says we should pray for those in authority. We should obey them. Every time we gather together for the country, we gather to pray in rebellion. The Spirit of God will never operate in rebellion. Pray for our leaders. Pray for our leaders. That is what he says. We should obey them. They will give account concerning what they have done with us, to us, and for us. They will give account before God. People in power need to understand that authority, no man can receive anything except it is given to him from above. No matter how anybody rigs, if God did not allow it, the person can never take power. No matter the level of rigging, no matter what anybody does, if God does not give it to the person, he can never have it. Power is not what anybody toils with. So if God has given the power, God allowed him. It was not a coup d'etat. Even with coup d'etat, they will either succeed or fail. And that is if God gives it to them. If God have allowed the power in house to go in, God allowed it. Believers, let us turn from our wicked ways. Let us humble ourselves and pray. Let us do the right thing before the Lord so that our country can be good. He said he will come and he will heal our land. He will heal our land. Let me quickly read a word for us and let us ponder on these things. Perhaps we might begin to change the outlook of things in our land or any country you are watching from. God have power over the countries, and it is who he releases the power to that will have it. No man can receive anything except it is given him from above, no matter what the person does. But Amos chapter 2 verse 12 says something. It reads, "Even now declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart, with fasting and weeping and mourning. Rend your heart and not your garment. Return to the Lord your God, for he is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and abounding in love, and he will relent from sending calamity. Who knows, he may turn and relent and leave behind a blessing, grain offerings and drink offerings for the Lord your God." It is still about you and I turning from our wicked ways, doing the right things, obeying authorities, keeping the rules of the land, and new things will take place. Remember, some people are wicked more than you, and they have access to power. So they manipulate the power, and so bounces back on you on the negative side. Do the right thing, and the right people will come into place. Even the power in authority, God can meet with that person, and something new can begin. Believers, let us do the right thing, and God will set things in place to favor us. God bless us all.